Her only wish was to walk down the aisle in a wedding dress, but for 85 years it didn't happen. Now, as Rosetta Mae Johnson smooths the ivory silk with trembling fingers, she can barely believe this moment is real. The wedding dress hangs on the back of her bedroom door like a ghost of dreams deferred. Simple, elegant, nothing fancy, just clean lines and long sleeves that will hide the age spots she's grown self-conscious about. She bought it 3 towns over, where nobody would ask questions about why an 85-year-old woman needed a wedding gown. Welcome back to Evergreen Gracie Stories, my sweet and loyal family. Before we begin, please let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Hit subscribe if you're hooked in and ready to enjoy this story, because tomorrow, I have another beautiful story to share with you and I don't want you to miss it for anything. Now, let's continue. Lord, what am I doing? She whispers to her reflection. The mirror shows her exactly what she is, an old woman playing dress-up, pretending she's somebody she never got to be. But the dress makes her feel different. Like maybe it's not too late. Like maybe some dreams don't have expiration dates. Her hands shake as she reaches for the zipper. She's been preparing for this moment for weeks, ever since she finally worked up the courage to ask Pastor Williams if she could use the church sanctuary. He looked at her for a long moment, then said, "Sister Johnson, if the Lord put that dream in your heart, then this church is honored to help make it come true." The silk feels cool against her skin as she steps into the dress. In the mirror, she sees something she's never seen before, Rosetta Mae Johnson as a bride. Old, yes. Wrinkled, certainly. But beautiful in a way that has nothing to do with age and everything to do with finally getting to be who she always wanted to be. Her phone buzzes on the nightstand. Mrs. Henderson's grandson, probably, letting her know he's ready to drive her to the church. She'd arranged for him to take her because walking 6 blocks in a wedding dress seemed like tempting fate. But when she checks the screen, her heart stops. Unknown number. Text message. I heard about today. I'm coming. She stares at the words, reads them again, then again. Who could this be? She hasn't told many people about her plan, just Pastor Williams, Mrs. Henderson, a few neighbors who might have spread the word. But this message, it sounds personal. Intimate. Like whoever sent it knows her, knows what today means. Before she can process it fully, her phone rings. Same unknown number. Hello. Her voice is barely a whisper. Don't hang up. The voice is male, younger, urgent. Please don't hang up. Who is this? Someone who should have called a long time ago. Someone who heard you're walking alone today. Her heart hammers against her ribs. I'm sorry, I think you have the wrong. Rosetta Mae Johnson. 412 Maple Street. You're wearing your mama's pearl earrings today because you said she always told you every bride should wear something that connects her to the women who came before. The phone nearly slips from her hand. How could this stranger know about her mother's earrings? About what she'd planned to wear? Who are you? She whispers. I'm the person who's going to make sure you don't walk down that aisle alone. The line goes dead. She stares at the phone, heart racing. Someone is coming. Someone who knows her, knows about today, knows things about her that strangers shouldn't know. But who? A knock at her front door interrupts her spiraling thoughts. Mrs. Henderson's grandson, right on time. She takes one last look in the mirror, grabs her small purse, and heads for the door. You look beautiful, Miss Johnson, the young man says, offering her his arm to help her down the front steps. Thank you, baby. But her mind is elsewhere, still turning over that strange phone call. Who was that? How did they know about her mother's earrings? And why did their voice sound almost familiar? The drive to the church is short, but it feels like the longest 6 blocks of her life. Through the car window, she can see people walking toward the church building, more people than she expected. Word has gotten around, apparently. Half the neighborhood is coming to witness something they've never seen before. Looks like you're going to have quite an audience, Mrs. Henderson's grandson says. I never expected. She trails off as they pull into the church parking lot. Cars everywhere. People in their Sunday best heading up the front steps. All of this, for her. As they park, she sees Pastor Williams greeting people at the entrance, his face bright with genuine joy. This is really happening. After 85 years of dreaming, it's really happening. But as she steps out of the car, she can't shake the feeling that something else is about to happen too. Something she's not prepared for. Have you ever had a dream you waited your whole life to fulfill? Share what that dream is in the comments below. Maybe it's time to stop waiting. Pastor Williams hurries over as she approaches the church steps. Sister Johnson, you look absolutely radiant. Are you ready for this? Ready as I'll ever be, she says, but her voice catches slightly. He notices. Everything all right? She wants to tell him about the phone call, about the stranger who somehow knows intimate details about her life. But how can she explain something she doesn't understand herself? Just nervous, I suppose. That's perfectly normal. Every bride gets nervous. He pauses, glances around. You're still planning to walk alone? Before she can answer, she hears car doors slamming in the parking lot behind them. Footsteps on gravel. Voices getting closer. Actually, she says, turning to look, I'm not sure anymore. A figure approaches through the crowd of people heading into the church. Tall, well-dressed, moving with purpose. Too far away to see clearly, but something about the way they walk, the determined set of their shoulders. Sister Johnson. Pastor Williams is saying, do you know that person? She squints against the afternoon sun, trying to make out the face of whoever is walking toward them. The person is carrying something, flowers maybe, and they're heading straight for her. She starts, but the words die in her throat. Because as the figure gets closer, as the face becomes clearer, she realizes with a shock that rocks her to her core, she does know this person. She knows them very well. The question is, how are they here? And why now? Granny Rose. The voice that spoke those words 15 minutes ago on the phone. The voice that promised she wouldn't walk alone. She knows that voice. But it's impossible. It can't be. Can it? The person walking toward her stops about 10 feet away, and Rosetta Mae's breath catches in her throat. She knows this face, but it's different now, older, more defined, carrying the weight of years she wasn't there to witness. Hello, Granny Rose. The familiar nickname hits her like a physical blow. Only one person has ever called her that, but it's been so long, and this person looks so different. I'm sorry, she says, her voice shaking. I think you might have me confused with someone else. A flicker of hurt crosses the stranger's face. You don't remember me. It's not a question. It's a statement filled with disappointment that makes her chest tighten. She wants to say she does remember, wants to reach out and touch this person's face to make sure they're real, but her mind feels foggy, uncertain. She starts, then stops. How can she explain that she does remember, but it doesn't make sense? That this person looks familiar, but impossible? Pastor Williams steps forward, clearly sensing the tension. Is everything all right, Sister Johnson? The stranger's attention shifts to Pastor Williams, and their entire demeanor changes. Straightens. Becomes more formal, more distant. I'm sorry for the confusion. I'm here for the ceremony. Are you family? Pastor Williams asks. Something complicated passes over the stranger's face. Not exactly. But I care about her very much. Rosetta Mae studies this person's profile, the line of their jaw, the way they hold their shoulders. There's something so achingly familiar, but her memory feels like it's reaching through fog. How do you know about today? She asks quietly. The stranger turns back to her, and for a moment, their carefully composed expression cracks. Word gets around. And some promises are too important to break. What promises? But before they can answer, the church doors open and Mrs. Patterson's voice carries across the parking lot. Rosetta. Oh honey, you look like an angel. And who's this handsome young man? Young man. The words hit Rosetta Mae like a revelation. Because now that Mrs. Patterson has said it, she can see it, the youth beneath the mature features, the boy hidden in the man's face. I'm sorry, the stranger says to Mrs. Patterson with a polite smile. I don't believe we've met. But Mrs. Patterson is squinting at them, her head tilted in that way she does when she's trying to place someone. You look familiar, honey. Do I know your people? I don't think so, ma'am. Mrs. Patterson's eyes narrow. Well, you sure do look like someone I know. Give me a minute, it'll come to me. The stranger's jaw tenses almost imperceptibly, and Rosetta Mae catches it. Whoever this person is, they're not comfortable with Mrs. Patterson's scrutiny. We should probably head inside, the stranger says, offering Rosetta Mae their arm. Don't want to keep everyone waiting. She looks down at the arm being offered, strong, steady, familiar in a way that makes her heart race. There's a small scar on the back of their hand, just below the knuckles. She knows that scar. She knows it because... Oh my lord, Mrs. Patterson gasps suddenly. I know who you look like. You look just like... Mrs. Patterson, Pastor Williams interrupts smoothly, why don't we get everyone seated? Sister Johnson, are you ready? The stranger's grip tightens almost imperceptibly on her arm. Not painfully, but urgently. Like they're trying to communicate something without words. I'm ready, she says, though she's not sure she is. As they walk toward the church entrance, she becomes aware of the whispers starting around them. People are noticing the stranger, trying to place them, murmuring to each other. Who is that with Rosetta? Never seen them before. Something familiar about that face, though. Reminds me of someone, but I can't put my finger on it. The stranger's steps never falter, but she can feel the tension radiating from them. Whatever their connection to her, whatever their reason for being here, they clearly don't want to be recognized. Inside the church sanctuary, she's overwhelmed by how many people have come. Every pew is filled, and there are people standing along the walls. All here to witness her dream coming true. But as they pause at the back of the church, waiting for their cue to begin the processional, she realizes she doesn't care about any of them. All she cares about is the person standing beside her, the mystery that's walked into her life at exactly the right moment. I need to ask you something, she whispers. What's that? Are you here because you want to be, or because you feel like you have to be? The question seems to catch them off guard. For a moment, their composed mask slips, and she sees something raw and vulnerable underneath. I'm here because 15 years ago, I made a promise. And I've been trying to figure out how to keep it ever since. What promise? The organist begins the processional music before they can answer. Pastor Williams nods from the front of the church, and suddenly this is it, the moment she's been waiting for her entire life. Ready? The stranger asks. She looks into their eyes that seem to hold secrets, pain, hope, and something that might be love, and nods. I'm ready. What do you think this mysterious promise was? Drop your guesses in the comments. I have a feeling none of us are prepared for the truth. As they begin their walk down the aisle, the whispers follow them. She can feel every eye in the sanctuary on them, can sense the curiosity and speculation rippling through the crowd. But more than that, she can feel the tremor in the stranger's arm where it supports hers. Whatever secret they're carrying, whatever brought them here today, it's costing them something to be here. Halfway down the aisle, she hears Mrs. Patterson's voice, louder than it should be in church. Martha, doesn't he look just like that little boy Rosetta used to watch? What was his name? Started with a T. The stranger's step falters for just a moment. Just long enough for Rosetta Mae to know that Mrs. Patterson is onto something. But before she can process what that might mean, they're at the altar, and Pastor Williams is smiling at them both with tears in his eyes. Dearly beloved, he begins, we are gathered here today to witness something extraordinary. As the ceremony begins, Rosetta Mae finds herself stealing glances at the person beside her. The profile is so familiar, the way they hold their head, the slight nervous habit of touching their collar. And that scar on their hand. She knows that scar. She knows it because she was there when it happened. She was there with a bandage and a kiss and a promise that everything would be okay. But that was so long ago. And the person it happened to would be. Her heart stops as the math clicks into place. The age would be right. The timing would be right. And if she's right about who this is, oh Lord. If she's right, then this person being here isn't just about keeping a promise. It's about something much, much bigger than that. Pastor Williams opens his worn Bible, and his voice carries across the packed sanctuary. We gather today not to witness a traditional wedding, but something perhaps more profound, the fulfillment of a dream deferred, a testament to the truth that it's never too late to claim the desires of your heart. Rosetta Mae tries to focus on his words, but she's acutely aware of the person standing beside her. Their breathing has changed, become more shallow, more careful. Like they're fighting to stay calm. Sister Johnson has waited 85 years for this moment, Pastor Williams continues. And while she may not have a traditional groom waiting at this altar, she has something perhaps more precious, a community that loves her, and someone special who chose to stand beside her today. The stranger's hand tightens almost imperceptibly on her arm. When she glances up at them, she sees a muscle working in their jaw. Now, Sister Johnson has asked to say a few words before we continue. She hadn't planned to speak. This wasn't part of the arrangement. But looking out at all these faces, neighbors, friends, people who've watched her live her quiet life for decades, she suddenly feels the need to explain. I know this must seem foolish to some of you, she begins, her voice surprisingly steady. An old woman playing dress-up, pretending to be a bride. A few chuckles ripple through the congregation, warm and affectionate. But my mama always told me that every woman deserves to feel beautiful, deserves to have her moment to shine. And I figured if I was going to do this thing, I might as well do it right. More laughter, and she feels some of the tension ease from her shoulders. I also want to thank this young person beside me for agreeing to walk with me today. I know it might seem strange to some of you, but sometimes the Lord sends exactly the right person at exactly the right time. She turns to look at the stranger, and what she sees in their eyes takes her breath away. Pain. Deep, old pain mixed with something that looks like desperate hope. Would you like to say something? She asks quietly. The stranger's eyes widen in panic. No. This is your day. But Mrs. Patterson's voice cuts through from the third pew. Honey, you sure do look familiar. It's driving me crazy trying to place you. Other voices join in. He does look familiar. Something about the eyes reminds me of someone from way back. The stranger's face has gone pale. They're gripping her arm now, not gently, but like they're holding on for dear life. It's okay, she whispers to them. Whatever it is, it's okay. But before they can respond, old Mr. Williams from the back row calls out, Young man, what's your name? Maybe that'll help us place you. The sanctuary goes quiet. Every eye is on the stranger, waiting for an answer. Rosetta Mae can feel them trembling now, can see the war being fought behind their eyes. They start, then stop. Clear their throat. Try again. I'm sorry, This is supposed to be about Miss Johnson, not me. But Mrs. Patterson isn't giving up. Wait a minute. Wait just a minute. She's half standing in her pew now, pointing. That scar on your hand. I know that scar. You got that when you were little, didn't you? Fell off your bike trying to impress someone. The stranger's free hand instinctively covers the scar, and Rosetta Mae's heart starts racing. Because she remembers that fall. She remembers the blood, the tears, the way she held a crying child and promised everything would be okay. Mrs. Patterson, Pastor Williams says gently, perhaps we should. No, wait. Mrs. Patterson is fully standing now, her voice rising with excitement. I remember now. You're that little boy. The one Rosetta used to watch. What was your name? Tommy? Tony? It started with a T. The sanctuary erupts in whispers. People turning to each other, murmuring, speculating. And through it all, the stranger beside her has gone absolutely still. Is that true? Someone calls out. Are you one of Rosetta's kids? More voices. Which one? I remember her watching that little boy. Didn't he move away years ago? What's he doing back here? The noise is building, and Rosetta Mae can feel the stranger pulling away from her, can see them calculating the distance to the nearest exit. Hey, she says firmly, loud enough to cut through the chatter. The sanctuary quiets. I don't care who you are or who you used to be. You're here now, and that's what matters. The stranger looks at her, and for a moment, the years fall away. She sees something in their face that takes her right back to scraped knees and bedtime stories, to homework at the kitchen table and worried nights when fever wouldn't break. But before she can fully process the recognition, Pastor Williams raises his hands for quiet. Friends, let's remember why we're here. This is Sister Johnson's day, her moment. Whatever questions we have can wait. The murmur dies down, but the tension remains. Everyone is looking at the stranger now with new interest, new curiosity. Are you all right? Rosetta Mae whispers. They nod, but she can see it's a lie. They're barely holding it together. Pastor Williams continues the ceremony, but she's lost track of his words. All she can think about is the person beside her, the way they're struggling to breathe normally, the way their eyes keep darting toward the exits. Have you ever been in a situation where your past caught up with you at the worst possible moment? Tell us about a time when you couldn't hide anymore. And now, Pastor Williams is saying, I'd like to invite Sister Johnson to walk the full length of the aisle, as she's dreamed of doing. A symbolic walk into the new chapter of her life. This is it. The moment she's been waiting for. But as she takes her first step, she realizes the stranger isn't moving with her. Come on, she whispers. I can't. Their voice is barely audible. They're all staring. They're all trying to figure out. Let them stare. This is about you and me, nobody else. But even as she says it, she can hear the whispers starting again. That's definitely one of her kids. Why's he so nervous? What's he hiding? There's more to this story. The stranger takes a shaky breath, then another. There's something I need to tell you. Something I should have told you 15 years ago. Her heart stops. What? Not here. After. When this is over. There's something about why I left, about why I never came back until now. Whatever it is. You don't understand. Their eyes are desperate now, pleading. What I did, what I didn't do. You might not want me here once you know. The organist starts playing again, louder this time, clearly trying to move the ceremony along. But Rosetta Mae can't move. Not when the person she's beginning to remember, the person she's been missing for 15 years, is standing here telling her they've been carrying some terrible secret. Tell me now, she says. I can't. Not here, not with everyone watching. Then after. Promise me after. They nod, but she can see the fear in their eyes. Whatever secret they're carrying, they believe it will change everything. As they finally begin their walk down the aisle, she finds herself not thinking about her dream coming true, but about the nightmare that might be waiting when this is all over. Because if this person is who she thinks they are, if they're the child she loved and lost and never stopped missing, then their return isn't just a miracle. It might also be a reckoning. 15 years ago. Promise me you won't forget about me, Granny Rose. The child's voice was small, scared, clinging to her hand as they stood on the front porch. How could I ever forget you, baby? But what if something bad happens? What if I do something wrong and you don't want to remember me anymore? She knelt down, took the small face in her hands. Nothing you could ever do would make me stop loving you. Nothing. Promise. I promise. Forever and always. Now, walking down the aisle with someone who might be that same child grown up, she wonders what could be so terrible that they think it would break a promise made with such absolute certainty. And she wonders if she's about to find out. The walk down the aisle feels both eternal and too short. As they reach the altar and turn to face the congregation, Rosetta Mae sees tears in faces she's known for decades. Mrs. Henderson dabs her eyes with a tissue. Old Mr. Williams nods approvingly. Even the teenagers dragged here by their parents seem moved by whatever they're witnessing. Beautiful, Pastor Williams murmurs. Just beautiful. But as she looks out at all these people who've come to celebrate her moment, she notices something else. In the back rows, she sees faces she doesn't recognize. Younger people, well-dressed, sitting together. They weren't here when the ceremony started. Who are those people? She whispers to the stranger beside her. They follow her gaze and go rigid. I don't know. But that's clearly a lie. The stranger knows exactly who they are, and their presence is causing visible distress. Pastor Williams opens his arms wide. Friends, what we witness today is a testament to the truth that dreams don't have expiration dates. Sister Johnson has shown us that it's never too late to claim the desires of our hearts. The congregation murmurs agreement, but Rosetta Mae is still watching those unfamiliar faces in the back. One of them, a woman with short blonde hair, is taking pictures. Not casual phone photos, but deliberate shots with a professional-looking camera. Sister Johnson, Pastor Williams continues, would you like to share what this moment means to you? She tears her attention away from the mystery guests and looks out at the familiar faces of her community. These people who've been her neighbors, her friends, her family for decades. When I was a little girl, she begins, her voice growing stronger with each word, I used to dream about my wedding day. Not about the man I'd marry, but about that moment, walking down the aisle in a beautiful dress, feeling like the most important person in the world. Nods and smiles throughout the congregation. Life had other plans for me. Different plans. But that doesn't mean they were worse plans. I've been blessed with a full life, with purpose, with the privilege of helping raise some wonderful children. Her eyes find the stranger beside her, and something passes between them, a recognition, a connection that goes deeper than words. And today, standing here with someone who chose to be here when I needed them most, I realize that sometimes the best dreams are the ones that come true in ways we never expected. The applause is spontaneous and heartfelt. But through it all, she's aware of the stranger's shallow breathing, the way they keep glancing toward those mysterious people in the back. Now, Pastor Williams says, I believe our young friend here would like to say something. The stranger's eyes go wide with panic. No, I couldn't. This is. Please, Rosetta Mae says softly. Whatever brought you here today, I'd like to know. The sanctuary falls completely quiet. Even the babies seem to sense the gravity of the moment. The stranger takes a shaky breath, looks out at all those expectant faces, then back at her. 15 years ago, they begin, their voice barely audible, someone made me a promise. They told me that no matter what happened, no matter how much time passed, I would always matter to them. Rosetta Mae's heart starts racing. Those words. She knows those words. I was just a kid then. Scared, confused, dealing with things that I didn't know how to handle. And this person, this incredible person, gave me something I'd never had before. The stranger's voice is getting stronger now, more confident. They gave me safety. They gave me consistency. They gave me the first taste of what unconditional love actually felt like. Tears are streaming down Rosetta Mae's face now. She knows. She knows who this is. But then I had to leave. And I thought maybe it was better that way. Maybe they'd be better off without me. Maybe I'd caused enough trouble, enough complications. The stranger turns to face her fully now, and she sees the child she once knew looking back at her through adult eyes. I was wrong. I've spent 15 years regretting that I walked away without saying goodbye properly. Without saying thank you. Without saying. Their voice breaks. Without saying I love you too. The sanctuary erupts. Not in whispers this time, but in open crying. Mrs. Patterson is sobbing. The Henderson family is holding each other. Even Pastor Williams is wiping his eyes. But Rosetta Mae only has eyes for the person in front of her. The child she raised, the child she lost, the child who somehow found their way back to her. Tommy, she whispers. He nods, tears streaming down his face. Hello, Granny Rose. Have you ever had someone from your past return when you needed them most? Share your reunion stories below. They might just inspire someone else's happy ending. The revelation ripples through the congregation like wildfire. People are turning to each other, explaining, remembering. The little boy who used to hold Rosetta's hand to the grocery store. The child who called her Granny Rose even though they shared no blood. Tommy Mitchell. Mrs. Patterson calls out. I knew it. I knew that face. But as the celebration builds around them, Rosetta Mae notices something troubling. Tommy's joy is real, but it's shadowed by something else. Fear. And those people in the back, they're no longer just taking pictures. They're moving closer, making their way toward the front of the church. Tommy, she says quietly, who are those people? His face goes pale again. We need to finish this. Now. Before. But it's too late. The blonde woman with the camera has reached the front of the church, and she's not smiling. Thomas Mitchell, she calls out, her voice cutting through the celebration. Tommy goes completely still. Not here. Not now. I'm sorry to interrupt, the woman says, but she doesn't sound sorry at all. But we need to talk. Pastor Williams steps forward. Ma'am, this is a private ceremony. If you have business with this young man, perhaps it could wait. It can't wait. The woman's voice is firm, professional. Mr. Mitchell has been avoiding our calls for months. Rosetta Mae feels Tommy's arm trembling under hers. Whatever this is about, it's bad. Very bad. Tommy, she whispers, what's going on? But before he can answer, the woman speaks again, and her words hit the sanctuary like a bomb. Mr. Mitchell, you've been named in a lawsuit. And your presence here today violates the terms of your probation. The church goes dead silent. Probation. Lawsuit. The words hang in the air like poison. Rosetta Mae stares at Tommy, searching his face for some explanation, some way to make sense of what she's just heard. "Tell me this isn't true," she whispers. The look in his eyes tells her everything she needs to know. It is true. And whatever he's done, whatever trouble he's in, it's about to destroy this perfect moment they've created together. "I can explain," he says desperately. "It's not what you think." But the damage is done. She can see it in the faces around them, the confusion, the disappointment, the slow dawning realization that maybe this reunion isn't the miracle they thought it was. Maybe it's something much darker. "Ma'am," the blonde woman says to Rosetta Mae, her voice softer now, almost gentle. "I think there are some things about Mr. Mitchell that you should know." "Granny Rose, what if I mess up? What if I make bad choices and disappoint everyone?" Tommy was 16 then, wrestling with the complicated emotions that come with growing up without a father, with a mother who worked too much, with a future that felt uncertain. "Baby, everyone makes mistakes. What matters is what you do after. How you make it right. But what if the mistake is too big to fix?" She'd pulled him close, held him tight. "No mistake is too big for love to handle. Remember that." Now, looking at the man Tommy has become, looking at the fear and shame in his eyes, she wonders if she was wrong. Maybe some mistakes are too big. Maybe some choices can't be undone. And maybe the child she loved and lost is gone forever, replaced by someone she doesn't know at all. The blonde woman pulls out a manila folder, her movements deliberate and professional. The sanctuary is so quiet that the rustle of papers sounds like thunder. "Ma'am," she says to Rosetta Mae, her voice taking on a gentler tone, "my name is Detective Sarah Chun. I think you should sit down." "I don't want to sit down." Rosetta Mae's voice is stronger than she feels. "I want to know what's going on." Detective Chun glances at Tommy, whose face has gone ashen. "Mr. Mitchell, would you like to explain, or should I?" "Please," Tommy whispers, and for a moment he sounds like the scared little boy he used to be. "Not here. Not like this." "You had months to do this the right way," Detective Chun replies. "You chose not to." She opens the folder and pulls out a photograph. Holds it up so the congregation can see. It's a surveillance photo, grainy but clear enough. Tommy in a suit, shaking hands with an elderly woman outside what looks like a bank. This is Mrs. Dorothy Kleinfeld, age 78. 3 months ago, Mr. Mitchell convinced her to withdraw her life savings, $47,000, to invest in what he called a guaranteed opportunity. The words hit Rosetta Mae like physical blows. She can hear the gasps from the congregation, can feel their shock rippling through the sanctuary. "That's not." Tommy starts, but Detective Chun cuts him off. Mrs. Kleinfeld lost everything. She's now living with her daughter because she can't afford her apartment anymore. Another photograph. Another elderly face. Mr. Harold Washington, age 82. Mr. Mitchell befriended him at a senior center, gained his trust over several weeks, then convinced him to co-sign for a loan that Mr. Mitchell never intended to repay. Mr. Washington's credit is ruined. His pension is being garnished. Rosetta Mae's hands are shaking. She can feel the world tilting around her, can feel everything she thought she knew crumbling away. "There are 6 more victims," Detective Chun continues. "All elderly. All trusting. All financially devastated by Mr. Mitchell's schemes." "Stop," Rosetta Mae whispers. "Please stop." But Detective Chun isn't finished. She pulls out another document. The warrant for Mr. Mitchell's arrest was issued 2 weeks ago. He's been hiding from law enforcement, using false addresses, staying off the grid. She looks directly at Tommy. "Until yesterday, when he used his real name to rent a car. The GPS led us right to you." The sanctuary erupts in horrified whispers. Rosetta Mae can hear fragments. Those poor people. How could he? She trusted him. He came here to hide. That last whisper hits her like a sledgehammer. He came here to hide. Not to see her. Not to keep a promise. Not out of love. To hide. "Tommy," she says, her voice barely audible. "Tell me this isn't true." He won't meet her eyes. Won't look at her at all. "Tommy." Louder now, more desperate. Look at me. When he finally does, she sees everything she needs to know. The guilt. The shame. The truth. He did it. All of it. How long have you been watching me? The question comes out of her mouth before she realizes she's thought it. His silence is answer enough. How long, Tommy? Granny rose. How long have you been watching me? She's shouting now, her voice echoing off the church walls. 3 months, he whispers. 3 months. The same time frame as his first victim. The pieces are falling into place now, each one landing like a nail in a coffin. The phone call from an unknown number. His knowledge about her mother's earrings. The perfect timing of his arrival. You've been studying me, she says, and it's not a question. Detective Chen nods grimly. We found surveillance photos in his apartment. Pictures of you going to the grocery store, to church, to the post office. He's been building a profile, learning your routines, your vulnerabilities. The word vulnerabilities hits Rosetta Mae like a physical blow. She is vulnerable. She's 85 alone, with a modest savings account that represents her entire life security. She was going to be victim number 8. The wedding, she says slowly, the realization dawning like a horrible sunrise. You knew about the wedding because you've been watching me plan it. Tommy's face crumples. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. What wasn't supposed to happen like this? Getting caught? Or actually having to go through with whatever you were planning to do to me? I never meant to hurt you. But you were going to. It's not a question. She knows. She can see it all now, the careful approach, the emotional manipulation, the way he was positioning himself as her savior, her long-lost boy returned just in time. How long before he would have asked her for money? How long before the sob story about needing help, about being in trouble, about having learned his lesson? You were going to rob me, she says, and her voice is steady now, deadly calm. You were going to break my heart and take my money and disappear again. No. Tommy's voice cracks. I mean, yes, at first, that was the plan. But when I saw you, when I heard your voice again. What? You remembered you used to love me? You remembered I used to take care of you. I do love you. I never stopped loving you. Bullshit. The profanity sounds shocking coming from her lips, echoing through the sanctuary. If you loved me, you wouldn't have spent 3 months stalking me like I was prey. The congregation is dead silent now, watching this devastation unfold. She can feel their eyes on her, can sense their pity and horror and probably relief that they're not the ones being destroyed in front of everyone they know. Detective Chen steps forward. Ma'am, we need to take Mr. Mitchell into custody now. Wait. Rosetta Mae holds up a hand. She's not done. There's more she needs to know, more pieces that need to fall. The other victims, she says to Detective Chen. Did he approach them the same way? Did he pretend to be someone from their past? Detective Chen nods. In most cases, yes. He researched them extensively, found emotional vulnerabilities, then exploited them. Rosetta Mae turns back to Tommy. So this whole thing, showing up today, the flowers, the speech about promises, it was all part of your con. At first, he admits, and his honesty feels like another betrayal. But Granny Rose, when I saw you in that dress, when I heard how happy you were. You what? You suddenly grew a conscience? You decided to rob me gently. What would you do if someone you trusted completely betrayed you in the worst possible way? Have you ever discovered that someone you loved was using you? Share your thoughts below. I couldn't do it, Tommy says desperately. That's why the detective found me. I stopped running. I came here because I couldn't live with what I was planning to do to you. So noble, she says, her voice dripping with sarcasm she didn't know she possessed. You decided not to rob the woman who raised you. What a saint. It's not like that. Then what is it like, Tommy? Explain it to me. Explain how you justified spending 3 months planning to destroy the person who loved you most in this world. He opens his mouth, closes it, opens it again. No words come. Because there are no words. No explanation that could make this make sense. No justification that could undo what he's revealed about himself, about who he really is. The child she loved, the boy she raised, the man she thought had returned to her, none of them exist. They never did. This stranger in front of her, This criminal who preys on elderly people, who studied her like a mark, who was planning to break her heart and steal her life savings. This is who Tommy Mitchell really is. Ma'am, Detective Chen says gently, we really do need to process Mr. Mitchell now. Rosetta Mae nods. She's suddenly exhausted, drained of everything that was holding her upright. The wedding dress feels heavy now, like a costume she's wearing in a play she never auditioned for. Before you take him, she says, I want to say something. Tommy looks at her hopefully, and she almost laughs at the pathetic optimism in his eyes. Like she might forgive him. Like she might understand. 23 children I helped raise over the years. 23 children I loved like they were my own. And I always wondered if I did right by them, if I gave them what they needed to become good people. She pauses, looks around the sanctuary at all the faces staring back at her. I guess now I know. At least with one of them, I failed completely. The words hit Tommy like a physical blow. He staggers backward, his face crumpling. Granny Rose, please. Don't. Her voice is ice. Don't call me that. You lost the right to call me that the moment you decided I was just another mark. Detective Chen and her partner move forward, and suddenly everything is happening very fast. Handcuffs. Miranda writes. Tommy being led down the aisle she just walked in triumph, now in chains. As they reach the sanctuary doors, he turns back. I'm sorry, he calls out, his voice breaking. I'm so sorry. She doesn't respond. Doesn't look at him. Just stands there in her wedding dress, surrounded by the wreckage of her dream, feeling like the biggest fool who ever lived. The doors close behind them, and the sanctuary falls into shocked silence. Rosetta Mae looks out at the congregation, these people who came to celebrate with her, who are now witnesses to her complete humiliation. She sees pity in their faces, embarrassment, horror. She sees the end of the life she knew. Because after this, she'll never be just Rosetta Mae Johnson again. She'll be the old woman who was almost conned by the child she raised. The fool who fell for the oldest trick in the book. Pastor Williams approaches carefully, like she might shatter if he moves too fast. Sister Johnson, he says softly, let's get you somewhere private. But she shakes her head. She's not running. Not hiding. If this is her humiliation, she'll face it head-on. I want to say something, she announces, her voice carrying across the silent sanctuary. Sister Johnson, you don't have to. Yes, I do. She straightens her shoulders, lifts her chin, and looks out at all those faces again. I want you all to know that I'm not sorry I loved him. I'm not sorry I raised him. I'm not sorry I gave him everything I had to give. Her voice grows stronger with each word. I'm only sorry that it wasn't enough to make him a better man. And with that, she turns and walks back down the aisle, alone this time, just as she'd always expected to be. Behind her, she leaves the wreckage of her dream, the death of her hope, and the destruction of the only thing she'd ever wanted, to feel for just one moment, like she was somebody's everything. Instead, she'd learned she was nobody's anything. Just another mark. Just another victim. Just another fool. The house feels different when she gets home. Same furniture, same photos on the walls, same crochet throw draped over the back of her favorite chair. But everything looks foreign now, like she's seeing it through someone else's eyes. Tommy's eyes. The eyes that studied her home for months, cataloging her routines, her vulnerabilities, her life. Rosetta Mae stands in her living room still wearing the wedding dress, unable to move, unable to think past the ringing in her ears. Mrs. Henderson's grandson had driven her home in complete silence, his young face tight with embarrassment and confusion. She'd thanked him at the door, her voice sounding strange to her own ears, and now she's alone with the aftermath. The phone starts ringing almost immediately. She doesn't answer it. It rings again. And again. On the fourth call, she unplugs it from the wall. She walks to the kitchen and puts the kettle on, going through the motions of making tea because it's something to do, something normal. But when she reaches for her favorite mug, the one that says "World's Best Granny" that Tommy gave her when he was 8 years old, her hand starts shaking so violently she nearly drops it. World's Best Granny. She'd kept that mug for 18 years. Treasured it. Used it every morning while thinking about the little boy who'd been so proud to give it to her. Now she knows the truth. Even then, even as a child, she hadn't been his granny. She'd been his job. His caretaker. His babysitter. Someone paid to watch him while his real family was busy with real life. She hurls the mug across the kitchen. It shatters against the wall, pieces scattering across the linoleum floor. The sound breaks something loose in her chest, and suddenly she's moving through the house like a tornado, grabbing every photo that has Tommy in it, every drawing he made her, every card he gave her for birthdays and holidays. Mother's Day cards. To the best mom in the world. Lies. Christmas pictures with him sitting on her lap by the tree she decorated just for him. Lies. Report cards he was so proud to show her, honor roll certificates she'd hung on her refrigerator like they were her own child's achievements. All lies. She throws them all in a garbage bag, photos, cards, memories, 18 years of what she thought was love. The bag fills quickly, and when she ties it shut, it feels like she's sealing away half her life. The doorbell rings. She ignores it. It rings again, followed by knocking. Rosetta? Honey, it's Martha Patterson. I know you're in there. More voices join in. Sister Johnson, we just want to make sure you're okay. Rosetta, please open the door. We're worried about you. She sits on her kitchen floor surrounded by broken pieces of the mug, listening to her neighbors' concerned voices, and feels nothing but a vast, echoing emptiness. They're worried about her. These people who just witnessed her complete humiliation, who now know that the child she was proudest of is a criminal who is planning to rob her. They're worried. She almost laughs, but no sound comes out. After a while, the voices fade away. Car doors slam. Engines start. Life goes on. But not for her. She can't sleep in her own bed. Every time she closes her eyes, she sees Tommy's face as Detective Chun revealed his crimes. The guilt, yes, but also the calculation. Even in that moment, even caught red-handed, he'd been working an angle, trying to manipulate her emotions. I never stopped loving you. Had any of it been real? Any moment of their relationship? Or had she been raising a sociopath who was learning, even as a child, how to use people's feelings against them? She moves to the living room, wraps herself in the crochet throw, and stares out the window at the street she's lived on for 30 years. The same street where Tommy used to ride his bike, where she'd watch him play with the other children, where she'd felt like part of a community. Now she's the cautionary tale they'll tell their own children. The lonely old woman who was so desperate for love that she fell for a con man's lies. Her cell phone, the one she forgot to turn off, buzzes with text messages. Are you okay? Please call me back. Martha. Thinking of you tonight. You're not alone. Pastor Williams. Don't let this define you, honey. We love you. Mrs. Henderson. That boy doesn't deserve your tears. Old Mr. Williams. She deletes them all without responding. What is she supposed to say? Thank you for witnessing my complete destruction? Sorry you had to see me be such a fool? Have you ever felt like your whole life was a lie? Like everything you thought you knew about yourself was wrong? Tell us how you found your way back to the truth. Around 3 a.m., she finds herself standing in front of the mirror in her bedroom, still in the wedding dress. The woman looking back at her is a stranger, wild-haired, hollow-eyed, wearing a costume that now feels like mockery. She'd wanted to feel like a bride for one day. Instead, she'd felt like prey. She starts to unzip the dress, then stops. Her reflection wavers as tears she didn't know she was crying blur her vision. Stupid old woman, she whispers to her reflection. Stupid, pathetic, foolish old woman. The words hang in the air, and she realizes with horror that they sound like something Tommy might say about her. About all his victims. The stupid old people who trusted him, who made it so easy for him. She sinks onto her bed, the wedding dress pooling around her like spilled milk. 2 days later. The garbage bag full of Tommy's things sits by her front door, but she can't bring herself to put it out for collection. It's been there for 48 hours now, a physical reminder of everything she needs to let go of but can't. She hasn't left the house. Hasn't answered the door. Hasn't eaten more than a few crackers and some tea. The world outside continues. She can hear cars driving by, children playing, life happening, but she feels disconnected from all of it. Mrs. Patterson has been by 3 times. Pastor Williams twice. The mailman left a note asking if she was all right. But she can't face any of them. Can't bear to see the pity in their eyes, the way they look at her now. The wedding dress still hangs on the back of her bedroom door, where she left it after finally managing to take it off. She can't look at it, but she can't put it away either. Around noon, someone knocks on her door. Different knock this time, official, authoritative. Ms. Johnson? This is Detective Chun. I'd like to speak with you if you have a moment. Rosetta Mae considers not answering, but something in the detective's voice compels her to open the door. Detective Chun looks tired, her blonde hair pulled back in a messy ponytail, her clothes wrinkled like she's been working non-stop. May I come in? Rosetta Mae steps aside without speaking. Detective Chun takes in the drawn curtains, the untouched mail piled on the table, the general air of someone who's given up. How are you holding up? How do you think? Detective Chun nods. I know this is difficult, but I wanted to update you on the investigation. I don't want to know. Ms. Johnson. I don't want to know what else he did, who else he hurt, how long he's been doing this. I just want to forget any of it ever happened. Detective Chun is quiet for a moment. Then, he's been asking to see you. The words hit Rosetta Mae like a physical blow. What? Tommy. He's been asking to speak with you. He says he has something important to tell you, something that might help you understand. No. The word comes out sharp, final. Absolutely not. Ms. Johnson, I understand your anger, but sometimes closure. Closure. Rosetta Mae laughs, and the sound is bitter, foreign. You think talking to him will give me closure? The boy I raised, the child I loved more than my own life, was planning to rob me. He studied me like a mark. He was going to break my heart and steal my life savings and disappear. What could he possibly say that would make that better? Detective Chun doesn't answer right away. When she does, her voice is softer. He claims he never intended to go through with it. That seeing you again, being with you at the church, made him realize he couldn't do it. So I should be grateful? He decided not to rob me, so that makes him a good person. No. But maybe it makes him still human. Rosetta Mae stares at the detective. Why do you care what I think about him? Detective Chun shifts uncomfortably. Because in 15 years of working fraud cases, I've never seen a perpetrator break down the way he did when we arrested him. And I've never seen someone fight as hard as he's fighting to get us to believe his remorse is real. It's an act. It's all an act. He's a con man, manipulation is what he does. Maybe. Or maybe seeing you again reminded him of who he used to be before everything went wrong. Rosetta Mae walks to the window, pushes aside the curtain, looks out at the street where Tommy used to play. Where she used to believe she was making a difference in a child's life. Do you know what the worst part is? She says without turning around. What? I still love him. Even knowing what he is, what he was going to do to me, I still love that little boy. And that makes me the biggest fool of all. Detective Chun doesn't argue with her. Maybe because she knows it's true. After Detective Chun leaves, Rosetta Mae stands in her living room and faces a truth that's been lurking at the edges of her consciousness for days. She can't stay here. Not in this house where Tommy's ghost lives in every corner. Not on this street where everyone knows what happened. Not in this life that's been built on a foundation of lies. She needs to go somewhere else. Be someone else. She walks to her bedroom, looks at the wedding dress hanging on the door, and makes a decision. She's going to sell the house. Take what money she has left and start over somewhere nobody knows her story. Somewhere she can be just another old woman, not the fool who fell for her own grandson's con. For the first time in days, she feels something other than despair. She feels purpose. It's not much, but it's something. And maybe for now, something is enough to keep going. Rosetta Mae sits in the county jail waiting room, her hands folded in her lap, staring at the scuffed linoleum floor. She's been here for 20 minutes, and 3 times she's almost gotten up and left. She doesn't know why she came. Detective Chen's words have been haunting her all week. Maybe seeing you again reminded him of who he used to be before everything went wrong. The truth is, she needs to know. Not for closure, she doesn't believe in that anymore. But because for 30 years, she measured her worth by the children she helped raise. If Tommy turned out this way, what does that say about her? What does that say about all of it? Rosetta Johnson? A guard calls her name. She follows him through a series of locked doors into a small room with a metal table and 2 plastic chairs. Tommy is already there, wearing an orange jumpsuit that makes him look younger somehow. More vulnerable. When he sees her, his face crumples with relief and something that might be hope. Granny Rose. You came. Don't call me that. Her voice is steady, cold. I'm here because I have questions. You're going to answer them. And then I'm going to leave and never see you again. He nods quickly. Yes. Anything. Ask me anything. She studies his face. The boy she raised is still there, underneath the man he became. That's what makes this so hard. How long have you been doing this? Conning elderly people. 2 years. Since I lost my job and my apartment and... He stops, shakes his head. No. That's not an excuse. There's no excuse. How many people have you hurt? 8. Including the ones Detective Chun told you about. Were you really planning to con me? His answer comes without hesitation. Yes. The honesty is like a slap, even though she expected it. From the beginning? Even when you called me? Yes. The flowers. The speech about promises. The way you held my arm. All of it was calculated. Yes. His voice breaks on the word. She nods. This is what she came to hear, the unvarnished truth, not pretty lies designed to make her feel better. Why me? Out of all the people you could have chosen, why me? For the first time, he hesitates. Because you were. He stops, starts again. Because I knew you loved me. And people who love you are easier to manipulate. The words hang in the air between them like poison. So you came back to use my love against me. Yes. She absorbs this, lets it settle into her bones. Then asks the question she really came here for. Did you ever love me at all? When you were little, when I was taking care of you, was any of it real? Now he's crying. Silent tears streaming down his face. That's the only thing that was ever real, he whispers. You were the only person who ever loved me just because I existed. Not because of what I could do for you or give you or be for you. Just because I was Tommy. Then how could you? Because I'm broken. The words explode out of him. Because when I was 15, my mom's boyfriend started hitting me, and when I told her, she chose him over me. Because when I was 17, I got arrested for stealing, and nobody came to bail me out. Because when I was 21 and homeless and sleeping in my car, I remembered that there was one person in the world who used to care about me, but I was too ashamed to call you. He's sobbing now, his whole body shaking. Because for 10 years, I told myself you were better off without me. That I'd just bring you down. That you probably didn't even remember me. I never stopped thinking about you. I know that now. But I didn't know it then. And when you're broken, when you're angry, when you hate yourself, you start to hate the people who used to love you too. Because their love makes you remember who you used to be before you became this. Rosetta may feel something shifting in her chest. Not forgiveness, she's not ready for that. But understanding. The beginning of understanding. So you decided to hurt me because I reminded you of better times? I decided to hurt you because I was already dead inside, and I wanted you to be dead too. I wanted to kill the part of you that still believed in me, still loved me, because it hurt too much to know that person existed and I'd lost the right to her love. The rawness in his voice, the self-hatred, the complete absence of self-pity, it's not the voice of someone running a con. It's the voice of someone finally telling the truth. But then I saw you, he continues. In that dress, so happy, so beautiful. And I remembered what it felt like to be worthy of your love. I remembered who I was when I was with you. So you decided not to go through with it. I tried to decide not to go through with it. But I'd already set everything in motion. I'd already been watching you, studying you. The police were already closing in. And I realized that even if I didn't take your money, I'd already stolen something more important. What? Your peace. Your safety. Your ability to trust. The moment you saw those photos, the moment you realized I'd been watching you like prey, I'd already taken everything that mattered. She stares at him, this broken man who used to be her little boy. Have you ever had to choose between holding on to anger or finding a way to heal? Sometimes the hardest person to forgive is someone who truly deserves your rage. What would you do? I need to tell you something, she says finally. He looks up, eyes red and swollen. After you were arrested, I threw away everything. Every photo, every card, every memory I had of you. I put it all in a garbage bag like it was trash. Pain flickers across his face, but he nods. I deserved that. But I couldn't put the bag out for collection. It's been sitting by my front door for a week because I couldn't let go. Why? Because those memories? They weren't about you. They were about me. About the woman I was when I was taking care of you. About the mother I got to be, even if it was just pretend. She leans forward, looks directly into his eyes. You broke my heart, Tommy. You shattered my trust, humiliated me in front of my entire community, and made me question everything I thought I knew about myself. You did all of that. I know. But you didn't break those memories. You didn't ruin that woman who loved you. You can't take that away from me, because it was never really about you anyway. It was about me choosing to love, choosing to give, choosing to be someone's safe harbor. Understanding dawns in his eyes. I was a good mother to you, Tommy. I was a good woman who did good things for a child who needed them. What you became after you left me, that's not my responsibility. That's not my failure. No, he agrees quickly. It's not. And what you tried to do to me, that doesn't change what I gave you when you needed it. It doesn't make that love less real or less valuable. She stands up, and suddenly she feels lighter than she has in weeks. Like a weight she didn't know she was carrying has been lifted from her shoulders. I'm not going to forgive you, she says. What you did is unforgivable. But I'm not going to let what you did destroy what I did either. Tommy nods, wiping his face with his sleeve. I'm glad. You shouldn't let me ruin that. I won't. She walks toward the door, then stops. Tommy. Yes. That little boy I raised, he was real. And he was good. And he was worthy of love. Whatever happened to him after he left my house, whatever choices he made, whatever he became, none of that changes the fact that for 7 years, there was a little boy who was loved completely and unconditionally. Thank you, he whispers. Don't thank me. Just remember him. When you're sitting in here, when you're trying to figure out how to be a better man, remember that little boy. He's still in there somewhere. I will. And Tommy? When you get out, however many years from now that is, don't come looking for me. Don't try to contact me. Don't try to make amends. The best thing you can do for me is to find that little boy again and make sure he never hurts anyone else. I promise. She nods and walks out, leaving him sitting there with his promises and his tears and his long journey back to becoming human again. 3 months later. The for sale sign in Rosetta Mae's front yard has a bright red sold sticker across it. The moving truck is scheduled for tomorrow, and tonight she's having a goodbye dinner with her neighbors. Mrs. Patterson brings her famous cornbread. The Henderson family contributes a casserole. Pastor Williams says grace. Old Mr. Williams tells the same stories he's been telling for 30 years, and everyone laughs like they're hearing them for the first time. Arizona's going to be lucky to have you, Mrs. Patterson says, passing the green beans. I'm going to miss you all something fierce, Rosetta Mae replies, and means it. But she's ready to go. Ready to start over in a place where she's not the woman who got conned by the boys she raised. Ready to be just Rosetta Mae again, without qualifiers or explanations. What are you going to do first when you get there? Pastor Williams asks. She considers the question. What is she going to do first? I think, she says slowly, I'm going to volunteer at a senior center. Help out with people my own age for a change. Laughter around the table. And maybe, she continues, I'll look into fostering again. Not babies this time, teenagers. Kids who've aged out of the system, who need someone to believe in them. Rosetta, Mrs. Henderson says carefully, are you sure that's wise? After everything that happened. Especially after everything that happened, Rosetta Mae replies firmly. One child making terrible choices doesn't mean I stop trying to make good ones. She looks around the table at these people who've been her family for 30 years, who witnessed her worst moment and loved her through it. I raised 23 children over the years. 22 of them turned out just fine. I'm not going to let one bad apple spoil the whole orchard. What's your next chapter going to be? Sometimes the biggest victories come after the biggest defeats. Share what you're ready to start over with in the comments below. After everyone leaves, Rosetta Mae sits in her empty living room surrounded by boxes and looks at the photo she's decided to keep. It's not one of Tommy, she threw all of those away after all. It's one of herself on the day she became a licensed childcare provider, 35 years old and full of hope about all the children she was going to help. That woman was right to hope. She did help children. She made a difference. One failure doesn't erase a lifetime of success. Tomorrow she'll drive to Arizona and start over. She'll make new friends, create new memories, probably make new mistakes. But she'll do it as someone who knows her own worth, who won't be shaken by other people's failures. She thinks about Tommy sometimes, hopes he's finding his way back to the good person she knows he can be. But she doesn't wait for updates, doesn't need to know how his story ends. Because this isn't his story anymore. It's hers. And she's not done writing it yet. 1 year later, Rosetta Mae stands in the community center in Phoenix, Arizona, wearing a simple blue dress and a confident smile. Around her, 15 teenagers who've aged out of foster care are setting up for their graduation ceremony. They've just completed a life skills program she helped design. "Miss Rosetta," calls out Jasmine, a fierce 17-year-old who reminds her a little of herself at that age. "Come take a picture with us." She joins the group, and as the camera flashes, she thinks about dreams. How some of them come true exactly as we imagine, and others come true in ways we never expected. She never did get her traditional wedding day. But she got something better. She got to learn that her worth wasn't determined by other people's choices. She got to discover that love given freely is never wasted, even when it's not returned. She got to find out that starting over at 85 is not only possible, but beautiful. Most importantly, she got to realize that the best dreams aren't about what other people do for us. They're about what we do for ourselves, and for each other, every single day. As the teenagers around her laugh and chatter about their bright futures, Rosetta Mae Johnson, no longer anyone's victim, no longer anyone's fool, but simply and powerfully herself, smiles and knows that her greatest chapter is just beginning.
Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed this story, you will surely love the next one. It's as crazier and more intriguing as you can ever imagine. So do check it out. Click on the image showing on your screen right now to watch the next one.